kingdom of God is inside you and all around you, not in the buildings of wood and stone. Split a piece of wood, and I'm there. Leave the stone, and you'll find me.
Welcome to the Gnostic Hour, a space where ancient wisdom meets modern inquiry and deeper questions lead to expanded perspectives. Each episode, we explore such topics as philosophy, consciousness, and human evolution, bridging the teachings of the past to the realities of the present. Drawing from lifetimes of lived experience and 4 decades of conscious evolution, this podcast offers reflections not as doctrine, but as an invitation to question more deeply, to perceive more clearly, and engage life with greater awareness. It is a place where curious minds can evolve. This is the Gnostic Hour. I am your host, Siobhan Nicolaou, the Sword of Truth. Let us begin. Hey everyone, Siobhan Nicolaou here, Sword of Truth. And today's episode is called The Light, the Dark, and the Truth. And with human interpretation, that could be called the good, the bad, and the ugly. And why would it be called that? Well, we did get some questions which inspired this particular talk. So let's get into it. Light has many shades. One thing we've learned very powerfully in our whole 40 years of conscious evolution, conscious transformation, not just evolution, there's a difference, we'll tell you in a minute, is that all love is light, but not all light is love. Now, when we evolve, getting to that, it's very slow. We are always in the process of evolution, forward movement to the realization of our true self, no matter how slow and arduous that path is, which would be called darkness, ignorance, walking in the dark without any light apparent within it. Yet the light is what moves all darkness forward because the essence of it is light. Transformation is the key because transformation is fast. Transformation means not just creating a more complex form, which can include more fact to memory and more understanding with the mental body of how, what, who, where, why, and when. But transformation actually changes the form itself. It's a thorough change of the form itself. And so transformation is the key. We got to get off this word evolution. And I know I've used it for years, but it was just a recent thing that I understood that that's really where we're at right now. We teach the tools of inner transformation, showing people not only how to activate and work with the kingdom of God within them, kingdom of heaven, if you will, which is the love of God that transforms duality, which is why this light and dark becomes such a hot topic here, because it's the ultimate game. When you finally realize it's a game, then you can leave the Truman Show and realize how powerful you actually are and how everything in this existence, in this universe, is part of the matrix. Whether it's light or whether it's dark, it's part of the construct. And that's what makes it tricky. That's why truth is so unappealing, because it changes the way we've been conditioned to see light and dark. And light can keep us in the loop of reincarnation as much as working with the darkness, that consciousness. The truth will set you free. Unconditional love transforms duality from the inside out. And just like light, there are many shades of love because there is a love we were taught that meant love, which is anything but love. There are extensions of, quote, unconditional love from external sources that are conditional. The only source of unconditional love that I have truly found is within myself, that was activated within me, that was made conscious within me, and the only source of my own transformation thus far for the past 40 years. Now, I have been around many high vibrational beings. I've had the blessing of that. And I can say that the vibration of these beings can help bring to your attention what within you is divided. If you are, in fact, wanting to work on yourself, which most people find unappealing. Inner transformation is not the quick fix, especially in the Western world that we're used to having. So people will go for what will give them that experience as quickly as they possibly can. But if it's not made conscious within you through your own inner work, then it is not going to be lasting. That's what I have found through my own experience. So when we look at light, is as much as an illusion as darkness. Because one needs the other to play off of in resistance, in judgment, in order for the human to evolve. Contrast is a great teacher only if you're using the inner tools, only if you're working from the inside out. There is a way that you do that to cultivate it within you. No one can do that for you. No one can do it for you. And when you search for love outside of yourself to take care of a problem that only the love within you can solve, you will be disappointed every single time. We are sovereign beings here in truth that have been so conditioned to give our power away that we forgot how to stand in it. It just takes too much time to spend with yourself every day, learning how to truly love that within you that you judge in other people. One thing I've also learned about the light and I've seen this throughout different states and different countries that I visited in work when I've been called to work in these places, where I've seen so many people betrayed by what poses to be light. And instead of doing their inner work to heal it, they rally against, they push against, they turn to the dark side. They become whatever that is for them. They want to play the game. And as long as you're in the light, you're looking at the darkness, dividing, which is being part of the game rather than the solution. And the darkness looks at light and says, oh, we can have fun with them. And it creates all kinds of chaos with the light. Now, if you're on one side or the other, you're in the game. Now, growing up in complete darkness as a child, well, not complete darkness. There's never a complete absence of light. That is absolutely false. I just didn't know it. I wasn't aware of the light within me that got me through. Oh my gosh, you know? Wow. But when I found the light, when I found meditation, when I found this beautiful person, as I've mentioned numerous times before, that's when the real games began. That's when the contrast happened, and it put me at odds with myself, because I had been so steeped in the darkness unknowingly that when I invited the light in, whew, created the contrast. Now, when that happens to a lot of people, of course, they're so illumined that they push against that which they judge to be bad. And so they're part of the problem rather than the solution. When I was introduced to golden light, that was a game changer because I learned how to utilize it within me, in myself, to transform the illusion of duality. Great skill. It's taken a long time, but we've increased the momentum in transformation these days to make huge moves in a very small amount of time compared to what it was 40 years ago, 30 years ago, even 10 years ago. So we're on a pretty good track. If you're sticking with transformation, you can go a lot farther, a lot faster, and feel pretty good about you being able to do it yourself. We'd love to show you how. So you see what I'm saying? People come into the light, God has saved me. Um, Wonderful. But then they look at something and then they start judging the other side. So whether you're on one side or the other, you're in the game. All right. So light can be to your detriment as well. And some people are so full of light, but only in the upper part of their aura, that they become blinded by it. Because unless you are integrating your shadow, because everything in this dimension that is in form has it. I don't care who you think you are. What happens is you become blinded by that light. You refuse to recognize yourself as anything but the truth of who you are, ignoring the part of the physical body that has to transform to be whole within itself. And so that light will be projected through those emotions, knowingly and unknowingly, because of course, subconscious has a life of its own. That's where all demons come from. And it goes out. It becomes part of the problem. So you see, light is very tricky. And darkness just laughs its took us off at the way people see themselves in light. Because they stay in the game. They stay in the game. So anything in form in this dimension is part of that game, whether you like it or not. And there's where the truth comes in. That's where the truth is ugly. And you know what? I'm beyond the point of caring now. I just am. Hold on a second. There is a saying by a German philosopher, Arthur Schopenhauer, who said that truth goes through 3 stages. The first one is ridicule, and I've been ridiculed, especially by people that I put above myself. The idea is initially dismissed as absurd or impossible. That's the first stage of truth. The second stage of truth is that it faces violent opposition, which I too have faced. As the idea gains traction, it faces intense pushback and hostility from the status quo. I have so experienced that. And that's what I mean. The light that doesn't want to hear what we say, that doesn't integrate the emotional energy that's within the form that they carry in this dimension, is what becomes that violent opposition. There's a lot of very intense energy, and it comes from the stars, and it inhabits human form, and it overrides the system of the human. But there's no human here that is completely void of negative emotion, unless it is consistently self-aware enough, humble enough at the feet of its own being to surrender and become that love that it professes to be. And I know that because that's me. And I'm certainly not perfect. But then again, I am. And the third stage of truth is that it becomes self-evident. Eventually, the idea becomes common knowledge and is accepted as an obvious fact. Who doesn't love light? We're taught that light is good, so we want to see the good in all the light. But like I say, discernment is really, really, really important. And we're going to create, and there's nothing wrong with anything that we experience, because if you're truly transforming to quicken your evolution of your consciousness and your being, you're going to get farther than a lot of people that are just there letting it happen. They're not conscious of what's actually going on. So light, these various stages and what do you call it, shades of light, can really be helpful for your own evolution if you're transforming from the inside out simultaneously. What a gift, right? The concentrations of light that are anchored on this planet through humans and otherwise are really powerful if we know how to utilize the gift that they are without becoming part of the game. So when we look at light and in religions, you see everything that's good has blonde hair, blue eyes, and everything that is brunette and has dark eyes and darker skin is considered immediately something less than darkness. Because then again, there's the judgment. Now, if you're standing in the light, rallying against the darkness, you're the other side of the dark coin. That's why Yeshua came. I've never studied Buddha or anything like that, but they didn't walk with the same message or consciousness that Yeshua did on earth. Now, I love Yeshua, and making his consciousness conscious within me and continuing to do the work I do, no matter what I've dabbled, not meaning darkness, but I mean different paths in the light, has been the only thing that has been able to really move me out of it and get through it completely. Sometimes I wasn't, I wasn't there at the forefront with that consciousness like I am now, but I certainly took the time after the fracking of the situation to transform myself back together. The pieces that I was shattered in how I saw things. We want to believe in these things that are light and good, but we got to believe in the light within us to make a difference. I feel from personal experience that these external examples of that are just here to be teachers for us so we can find that truth within ourselves. And if we don't, that's okay too. You're going to get it eventually. So everything serves. And it only serves love if you're actually coming to love within yourself. Because every wound, when it's transformed, comes to love. It comes to clarity. It's on the other side of the wound. It's not something you can understand ahead of time. You've literally got to do the inner work to get the gift on the other side of the pain. People think it's different. It's like, I got to figure it out first and get all this, and then I can understand. And it's not about understanding. Love is not about understanding. It's not about understanding. So if I sit here in white clothes, I'm all pure, right? But if I put on a dark colored shirt, then how do you perceive me? Then how do you perceive me? Do you see that dark and light are all a perception? There, I'm trying to find something here I can actually. Give you that experience because it's true. Because it's true. When you realize that color is an illusion, you'll be able to know what you're seeing beneath it. I'll tell you right now, most of you wouldn't know love if it fell out of the sky in your lap and kissed you on the face. Because to humans, in the light and dark of their division, will only see things as they were taught to perceive them. But does it make it real? No. This might change your perception of me based upon the color that I wear. So, light and dark, perception is everything. They're only here in this dualistic dimension as a way to bring us back to love. And within love is the truth. The sword of truth was designed to be able to cut through the density so you can discover the light within it. The density, meaning negative emotion, that lives within the physical body. It's part of physical experience. That's what we feel is original sin, because there is no sin. The only thing that puts you in that game is duality. And by taking on a form and coming into this dimension, you're already part of the game. Just because you were forming in the womb of your mother, and where form is, negative emotion absorbs into it. And so by the time you're 8 and your mind becomes sufficiently developed, there it is. We say that all the time. That creates the perception that then you grow up to believe is real. And so that's where all that comes from. So when we look at light, we want to believe that it is what it says it is. And it is to the extent that it can be. But where I've always fallen short is by the perception of what that's supposed to mean without using the discernment that would have brought me more to the truth. And do I have any regret? Oh, heck no. Because going through it all the way with the work that I do internally really brought me to another level within myself. Wow. It's wonderful. So dark is considered bad because of the way we were conditioned to see things, which led to our perception. When we become light, then we push against the darkness through his judgment, and we become just like the darkness. We become part of the game. And the whole end game is to love with the unconditional love within you, the kingdom of God within you, to activate it, to cultivate it, to make it conscious within you by transforming the duality that keeps you from that embodiment. And you'll be able to love yourself out of every gnarly situation that presents itself, as long as you're not in resistance. Unconditional love does not have resistance. Love doesn't care, love just loves. So as a human with the negative emotion within me, there are times where something will trip me up and I will spend as much time as I need to transform it. Because it doesn't feel good in my body, doesn't feel good in my head, doesn't feel good in my soul. and we transform and we keep on walking. But we don't look at it as something that is anything other than a conflict within ourselves. Because everything in reality here is an illusion. It does not exist. And so many people can agree with it, but very few people actually deal with reality from that perspective. They can say it a million times and surround themselves with people who agree, but are they really, really living that way? You can't, you can't, you can't unless you're integrating the duality within you, i.e., with the kingdom of heaven within you, with the true unconditional love, which came to the earth in its most potent force from Yeshua. I'd say he was the most humble of them all. Because it wasn't just a knowing of love and a feeling of love, which can be projected through the heart so everyone feels it. He really embodied what he taught, what he was encoded with. And I was alive in those times to get the blessing of his energy. And I proved to myself that it can be done. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Unconditional love within me, within those I teach that actually take the time and a commitment to utilize the tools. We're not here to escape reality. We're here to transform it. Everyone's looking for a fast way out of this reality. And this reality is changing fast. Another ugly truth is that you can't give your power away and empower yourself at the same time. You have to stop giving your power away. And this is what I finally realized, that not everything is as what I assumed it would be. I learned a lot about how it all happens, why it all happens, and we'll do a whole nother video on that because it's fascinating. But we get caught in this loop. But as long as you're doing your inner work, you're going to come out okay on the other side, like we said. But if you're not doing that, then you're going to get swallowed up by it. So that was the point I came to, is that I couldn't own my own power because it wasn't allowed to be expressed. My own unique divine was not allowed to be expressed where I was. And that is the most precious thing to me, is my God-given personal divine. And it's mission here to show people how to transform their reality to become the sovereign being that they are, and through that process realize that they can walk out of this Truman show at any time, that they never needed anything other than themselves. Now, granted, we need others to grow until we get to the point where we don't anymore, but only if you're growing. Knowing isn't growing. And if you're not growing, you got to be going. So it's been said that humans are really insignificant. We're looked down upon by many beings from other realms as being a weak race. And how can we not be at a certain point until we wake up to the fact of our own personal power, when we have been altered by beings from other realms since the beginning of time? Every God, so to speak, has a purpose for being here, an off-world purpose. And humans have been so afraid because of this light and dark thing that they get fascinated and they get enamored and they feel something beyond what they've ever felt in their human experience. And that leads them to give their power away to something that promises them everything, which it can give you as long as you stay and give it access to you. These beautiful beings, look at humans, because we've been so disconnected when our minds were swiped and we were genetically modified, which, okay, I was a part of that in Atlantis. Um, I'm definitely definitely help write the book on a lot of this stuff, but I've also made a lot of peace with it. Catholic Church, I'm still having a few issues with, but yeah. I know who I've been. I know the parts I've played, and I have seen this kind of thing in action forever. So to become your own self-sufficient source is to really become unable to be manipulated. Now, we're all connected to something, knowingly or unknowingly. But this is why inner work is so important. This is why self-awareness is so important. This is why learning about your energy and how to manage it is so important. Because if you don't want to be picked up and drug around for whatever these beings need you to do for them, and you kind of want to direct your own spirit in the direction that you want to create your life, we're as much creator beings as other creator beings. And we don't have to own that either, but I'm just saying it's possible. Absolutely possible. So they show up in light. They have superpowers, which we also have. We've just been cut off from them. You're never going to own your superpower by having someone superpower in your life for you. You're only going to know that it's possible. And that's okay too. Not everybody's here to come into their own. But we're just here to tell you that it's possible and provide the tools if you choose to work with us in order for that to happen. So the light and dark play these such unique parts. Like the light says, "Come hither, and here is all of this. And all you have to do is this, and you will have it." Well, isn't that only usually from the dark side that says you got to sell your soul? It's kind of the same thing, just on a different side of the coin. And so it's not making one side bad. It's showing you how each side is the same and how the beings that are here mostly are not here because they are unconditional love, though they feel like it because it is a presence that it's beyond your experience here on earth. It's like you feel that, but when you feel that within you, there's nothing that even compares to that because you feel you as that love. It takes you off the wheel of dependency. We have been conditioned to believe that we're so weak that we can't do anything on our own. Now, that might have been true 5,000 years ago, 10,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago, 100 years ago, 30 years ago. We're way beyond that now, folks. That's the truth. And that's ugly to people who don't want you to hear that or who don't want even that seed planted in their head. Unconditional love shows you that you are the love you seek and teaches you how to arrive at that conclusion within yourself. It's the most beautiful experience you can have. in the process of your own becoming. Because we're all pretty magnificent. It's just what we've been conditioned to believe about ourselves. There is a lot of what they call spiritual ego, and it's blinded by the light. And the only reason that that happens is because the light is so strong that they are completely separate from the negative emotion that runs that sub program. I even I kind of have to chuckle entertaining the notion that when these beings from off-world, which are very intense, come to this planet and inhabit a physical body which has negative emotion, that not knowing how to be in form, or the being that from space, not understanding, not knowing how to what it means to be in a human form. They don't know enough about what it means to be human. They have to come here to learn through us. So they need us not only to learn, but to utilize our energy. And it's a giving and a taking and or a giving and a receiving. We'd love to think that, right? And it is, unless it comes to a point where we're not allowed to express our own unique divine. Then it becomes something completely different. Um, but how about that, right? Having a being that just freaking loves you and knows you're worthy of that boost and can focus positively upon you so you can become who you were intended to be. I mean, that's really unconditional love to me. You learn to hold that for yourself. You become your own God source, because that's where love has never hurt me. That's where the light, well, it's not the light, is it? Okay. So again, that off-world being comes into a physical body, which has negative emotion, whether it wants to know it or likes it or not. It does, but it's blinded by the light, so it can't see how it responds. So the chuckle I got the other day was imagining that all these goddesses and gods that are considered dark and destructive are all an expression of that negative emotion that they don't want to own as being their responsibility for not transforming the negative emotion within the body that they inhabit. Because in humans, the subconscious and the unconscious have a life of its own. And if you're not self-aware enough to be able to come to love to transform it, it's going out to wreak havoc anywhere, everywhere. It hurts people. It's destructive. That much light in a human body, that much, super high vibe light creates the split where they don't want to be responsible for the demon it creates out here, and they give it a name and they call it a woman, and all of this, the goddess of destruction. Now, we're all that in ourselves. There's nothing outside of ourselves we need to worship because everything is within us. When you worship yourself, you worship not yourself, the personality, but you worship the love within you. When that part of you that is in so much pain that it is acted out in egregious ways stands in front of its essence most high, which is a love within you that you bring to this wound. The love just is there until whatever is called it forth falls to its feet and allows the transformation to happen. Now, some of these demons, like the ones I have transformed within myself, show up in ways that they want to convince you they are, because as long as you believe in it, so it is. It's not enough to see. what it is as love. See everything as me. Well, that's a pretty lofty thing because you can't have that perception unless you've transformed enough of your own duality to come to that. In fact, when you come to that level of transformation, you don't even see the difference because love doesn't care, love just loves. So it never divides by looking at something, deciding it's unworthy of love. It just holds it until it transforms. And some of these demons take a lot longer than others. And if we've taken a demon and we've given it a name and separated out from ourselves and call it something else, then we really create something more than is wise. Because then we convince ourselves that it is something outside of us. So we don't have to take responsibility for the freaking havoc we're creating on Earth. That's what I've come to realize. I am so happy that I learned how to make conscious the kingdom of God within me to become my own real source of transformation. Because everything else that I come into contact with, other than that, is just a bonus for my own growth, my own healing, which I gladly embrace. So when someone feels like they've been ostracized or part of some group or something like that, where, everybody's all supposed to be all light and love, and it's this community of that and all of this, and they get kind of kicked off to the side, it's not the light that is projecting all of that you feel that is coming at you in the way of an attack. And believe me, I feel all of it. I'm very aware of someone focused on me. I'm very aware when someone's thinking of me. But it isn't their light that's attacking you. It's the light shining through their unhealed negative emotion that is attacking you. And so when people have these experiences, whether they be churches or whatever, and then they become the darkness and fight against it, they just become like those who have betrayed them, those who have abused them. So nobody's any better in that world. You're never gonna get off the battlefield of duality with that perception, ever. So light or dark is what we're here to overcome. Unconditional love is the only thing that is here to transform the illusion of duality. And I have never found it outside of myself. I have found a message that, I'm a little slow, right? Siobhan is a little slow sometimes. That non-thinking being that I am, that I like to be. So it took years for me to really get the message, because nobody's going to tell you what that is, especially if they can see who you are and you can't see who you are. This is the old conditioning, right? It starts when you're forming in the womb, mother, father, and you come out and you're being told you're worthless. And then the church reinforces that every week. Lord, I'm not worthy to receive you. Only say the word and I shall be healed. Okay, so there's truth to that when you can see it from a different level, of your consciousness. There's a lot of truth in that. But from a 5-year-old kid and a parent who's, you know, abusing you, that becomes something else altogether. You feel the unworthiness. Someone else is up there. You can't own your power because they have it all. When you're told the cornerstone of your existence and everything good in it is the church, and you have to go to the church to get it. We've been conditioned to that forever. So there's that. So the dark and light are both an illusion, and the truth arises from within the unconditional love you make conscious, because on the other side of that pain is where truth really lies. And then there are levels to the truth that are discovered. It depends how much you integrate within yourself. Integration is the key. And people can use that buzzword all they want, but if they don't know how to do it because they've never done it, it becomes part of a teaching they hope to be able to teach, but they can't because you absolutely have to do the work to come to this knowing within you without it being a knowing of the mind, but a knowing within the whole of who you are. And so that's the piece of the puzzle that God gave me to bring to humanity. And I'm happy to share it with people because especially now where the game has escalated between dark and light. They say it's a war. It's a war between dark and light. It's always been a war between dark and light. But when light is in the physical and doesn't take responsibility for the unconscious and the subconscious that is projected from within the vessel, it's in the same game. It's wreaking havoc as much as the darkness sits and laughs at that fact. So the darkness says, well, we were given our bad guy tattoo a long time ago, so we could just sit back and watch the games. Because there's a lot of well-meaning, beautiful people out there that are more of the problem in what they're doing by not becoming whole within themselves. I just decided that I can't count on anybody outside of me to be the love that I want to see in the world, so I'm going to be the love that I want to see in the world. That would be me. Who said that? Be the change you want to see in the world. Yeah, that's it. That's it. Because that's where the difference is gonna be made, not on the stage, not with all the actors and all the costumes and stuff. I mean, wow. You look at this whole reality and it's nothing but that, right? It's nothing but that. Let's see if we have another question. Yeah, I can talk for days. Let's see here. I think we've pretty much covered them all. What is the difference between evolution and transformation? Well, we answered that. Let's get back to the ugly truth. We talked a little bit in our last video about the real disclosure day. So this kind of winds into masks. Now, I've gotten crap my whole life from my jealous mother and my jealous sisters, to many women around me. I should be flattered, but it's hurtful because all I want to do is love and play with people and have fun and create with them. But I don't find most people to be whole enough within themselves to be fun to play with. And so I play with myself. I like being alone. I like playing with my inner being. It's great. But I look forward to the day that I meet those who I can really have fun with and co-create with, who are honest and not wearing the masks that I've encountered through um, that whole process of wanting to uh, have that kind of relationship and experience with others. So the masks, right? People say they've given me jibes about putting on makeup every day. I've had people that I can feel their thoughts. I can hear their thoughts, actually, feel the energy. around people wishing I would get fat or that I would get old, that somehow I would get ugly, that I would just show a different face because this face isn't my real face. Let me tell you something. The only mask we wear in this dimension is the mask of our negative emotion. Because underneath, well, we don't want to go underneath because that's skipping a step, isn't it? Through the transformation of your negative emotion, you don't see anybody more beautiful than yourself. You don't even have the notion to say something like that to someone or to have a feeling, but it all comes down from unworthiness and not good enough. And many of us in the Western societies were totally conditioned around that. Magazines, everything. So if you transform the masks, which are negative emotion, which would give you those words to begin with, they come from your own feeling of what things should be. Here's this good and bad thing. Well, let's see. People in the light don't wear makeup and they, have a certain kind of clothing that they wear, and they only eat certain foods. No, no. This is my natural state. Even when I'm gardening or if I'm riding horses, you know? So people who say things like that have their own mask. It's called jealousy or it's called envy. It's called comparing. It's called not good enough within themselves. That's the only masks we have is the mask of negative emotion. Because none of that matters, people. Because there's plenty of people that present to be holier than thou that are the worst people to walk the face of this earth. The energy that you feel around them is intense, and because it's different than yours, you think it's better than you. That's because we've been conditioned to believe humans just suck, that they're small and they're powerless. And they're here to be manipulated by off-world beings, and we're not. We can be. We've been used to it. I went through most of my life just being uprooted because I didn't have control of my own vessel. I didn't have the connection to my inner being that I have now that doesn't allow that to happen as it did before. It's different. You have all of that consciousness that you seek outside of yourself within you. And so when you discover it within you and you work with it within you, you have a conscious relationship with the being that is you. And then from that comes its unique expression. So masks are just that. Masks are negative emotion. That's it. So all those derogatory remarks show people that are in the light, looking down on people who they're envious of, who they're comparing themselves to. I've been lining my eyes forever. I think since I started wearing makeup in like my 30s. And, it's an Egyptian knockoff. It's the eye. And it's interesting that it's a ritual, bathing is a ritual. It comes from all of my genetics, right? Bathing is a ritual. And things like that are my own way of ritualizing everything I do, making it sacred. Beauty is a manifestation of the divine. And it's not limited to what you look like. But if you're ugly and have an ugly attitude, then that's on you. If you don't like the way you look and you hate yourself and project that onto someone else, that's your own mask. And you got to make peace with that, not me. I don't even feel that anymore. So those are the kinds of masks we're talking about. The mask is what you wear. I think that if Yeshua was alive today and living in New York, he'd probably wear Armani. And the only reason he wore linen is because of he lived in the Middle East, right? And traveled the world. And on the other side, I can also see why linen is really great because it's a very high vibrational fabric. I wear it most of the time. And when you're more inspirited or, in your body than most people, you're hot all the time. And so having the air of those clothing is really nice. It's not just a statement that says, I am this or that. It's practical. So I understand that too. People in hot climates should wear robes of linen and silk or whatever, because those are, or cotton, because those are all natural fabrics, which I prefer to wear. And they're just good for the body. So when we look at Disclosure Day, right, and they showed all these things at the end of the movie, all the undisclosed files, which everybody knows are already there and true. It's like, oh, it's such old news. The real Disclosure Day is going to be when the meat suits of the people that stand in front of you that you think you're human come off. When you see what they actually look like, you probably wouldn't be so quick to throw yourself at their feet. They don't look like humans, but they come into human form so you can have a relationship with it. People's lives are changed really positively by their presence. I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying the ugly truth. I'm not frightened by it because I've seen them. It's just a disguise. And that's what's worn in this dimension. Everyone's wearing a disguise. And so Disclosures Day is really people for the first time in their life seeing beyond the veil of what they believe is real, what they've been told is real. Things on this planet haven't shifted enough for that to happen, but they're going to soon enough. And light and dark will have a whole nother meaning to you. And so the sword of truth is here to bring things to people's attention so they can learn how to come to love within themselves, own their process of transformation, being happy with everything else that is out there because they don't care. They're on their own path of sovereignty, knowing that they're enough. People ask me, they say, why, when you use golden light meditation, do you encourage us to bring it from the outside in? And I'm like, well, that's because the only way that you can relate to it right now. But it changes. The more you utilize the tools we give you and the meditations themselves, they are very powerful in their effect in many different ways. So if you want to know more about that, you can email us at sovereignmastery@gmail.com. We're focusing now on soul readings. If you'd like an introduction to the work that we do, and we'd like to be able to look into you and see how we can best guide you and help you through your process. So that's why a reading is a great initial first step. Um, we do mentorships where you see, feel, and want to experience the work at deeper levels. We work with you constantly. Um, and then we also teach classes because there are some things in my wheelhouse, some gifts that I have that are very powerful that I've been doing for others for years. And what I would rather do now is to encourage people to invest in a course so we can teach them how to feed themselves. Because in the empowerment business says, I don't have all the power to do this. Let us show you how you have the power to do this as well. So that's going to be our focus because times are going to change. And the more tools you have to work with on your own, the better off you're going to be. So we're talking about feng shui and cures, which are very powerful and very potent for the dwellings that you live in. Um, we're also talking about emotional energy transformation, EET, which is what we call it, in homes, and what that means to heal a house. So those are really important things because these tools aren't really limited to housing, but you have to take the course to find out what we mean by that. So disclosure is sharing what we know. So you know you have the power within you as well. Set you off, set you free in a way that you can be whole within yourself. I really feel that the single most powerful tool any human, male, female, can possess is their ability to become their own source of emotional stability. The codependence on teachers is a problem. It teaches, though, doesn't it? Right? Everyone's learning something, so there's nothing wrong with it. But the way we see it is that it is not um, what a lot of people want and don't realize is happening. Let's put it that way. It's the difference between showing people how to feed themselves and feeding them. What's that old Chinese proverb? Give the man a fish and you'll feed him for a day. Show him how to fish and he feeds himself for a lifetime. So that's where we come from. So our courses, we're putting those out front and saying, if you want it, we got it. Let's have some fun. They're 3 to 6 month courses, and they take you from the bottom up, from the ground up. And you'll leave with a lifetime full of skills that will help you become whole within yourself and make everything else whole around you. Not that you're fixing things, because love doesn't look at things that way. Don't hear it that way. It's not that anything needs to be fixed. If you see it that way, you're seeing it through the eyes of division. If you look at yourself as something is wrong with you that needs love, then you're dividing. And love doesn't think like that. Love doesn't think. Love doesn't care. Love just loves. It's a very important thing to remember. You can't see anything as something wrong with anything and transform it. Love never shows up that way. True love never shows up that way. So light and dark in this dimension has its limits here because it's part of the construct. That's also another thing that's good to know. You can't be affected by the world of darkness unless you're playing the game. That's what darkness doesn't want you to know. And that's what a lot of light doesn't realize. It's playing the game, calling darkness bad. And every time you do that, you're in the game. So it's this big show. And everybody's in the arena. It's time to get out of the arena. It's time to get out of the arena. You got to stop fighting on the battlefield of duality. And to hear people say we're in this big energetic war. Yeah, but you know what? Your opposition to the other side makes it even stronger. And humans don't get that. So you're just as much the problem fighting against the other side. So light and dark is what we're here to get over, y'all. And you're not better on one side or the other. Every time you oppose darkness, you reinforce its own self-loathing. And it'll say, yes, call me evil, because when you do, you're in resistance, and resistance is part of the game. So when you realize how everything here is energy, good, bad, or ugly, it puts you on a better footing. That is why when I have known people who are full of light, who I have left, and then I'm attacked continually because I have left, I don't look at that as them being dark. I look at it as them being unintegrated because they really know not what they do. When you're blinded by the light, you don't take responsibility because you can't see it. You can't feel it. And when all that ability to feel is taken out of the way, you lose your ability to transform yourself. Unconditional love is a different set of rose colored glasses. It's a different set. So light and dark are part of the game. Well, not part of the game, it's the whole game. And it's the game we're here to get over. And truth is the middle line because I arrived at the truth within myself through transforming enough a negative emotion with the love of God I've made conscious within me and continue to work with to this day. 2013 was when that happened. After Archangel Michael had driven that sword down my spine in 1993. I never thought a thing of it. I was busy. I was a young mother. I was working. I was married. But I sure found out what that meant in 2013 after I had, continued to work on myself for all those years. And then this new voice emerged from within the love that I am, the voice that no one really wants to hear. Because the truth will set you free. It's all these stories you've been told are a way, are just there for you to see what's happening so you can own your power to set yourself free from the situation. We have learned to disconnect from our own inner guidance. We have become energy whores. It's like an addiction. There's all these different frequencies out there, and we get so enlivened by them when we're in the presence of it. So we keep going back. It's like an addiction because we're not tapping that within ourselves. Get addicted to love. I'm addicted to love. I'm addicted to the love in me. Because that's the love that loves me. That's the love that transforms me. That's the love that heals me. That's the love that is me. And it never wears this badge of perfection that says I am beyond it. When it gets to a certain point of its own transformation. Because as long as we're in this form, we've got energy that we want to be responsible about through the process of integration. So we're not projecting it onto others and being part of the problem in the world. It's like putting gasoline on a fire and trying to put it out at the same time. If you're not integrating your pain, if you're not transforming it, you are part of the whole shit show. Excuse my language, that'll need to be edited. It's a show. It's a freaking act. So everyone in form, if they would only learn how to transform the negative emotion within their physical bodies, wow, would that set this world free? No one can do it for you. They can make you feel different, but they can't make you whole within yourself. Well, so let all that sink in. The sword of truth isn't here to rub the tummies of those who don't want to wake up. We are here for the transformation of humans into consciousness, not just the evolution of human consciousness. So we can help. You know where to find us. sovereignmastery@gmail.com. Just give me a shout. Like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for being here. We'll see you next time.